to the 11th episode of the First Gen Sisters Podcast. Today we're diving into Are We There Yet? Jalopies, monster trucks, and smoking vans. Our forecast about the cars that got us there and the ones that left us stranded.
We'll also be talking about some case around moments. We had pretty moving ones this week. And then we'll have our happy hours that keep us laughing, sipping, and we'll rate some bars. First Gen Sisters Forecast, where the wine flows and the tea spills.
Cheers! We're going to start with our beautiful tradition that grew our family's journey with my mom's dementia. She lived with dementia for about a decade, and when we'd go to visit her, even on good days and bad days, she might not remember her names, but she could always sing the song, Que Sera, Sera. It was incredible that song could reach her, even through the fog, and bring her back to us, even just for a moment. The moment inspired our Que Sera beaded bracelets with a cross, symbols of healing and connection from her to the world. Our motto is, life is messy, but God's got you.
Part one of our forecast is about honoring our Que Sera moments. And Noelle has some really meaningful Que Sera moments from this week.
The moments actually have happened over the past few weeks. I started a new job and been getting to know my coworkers and my furniture dealership environment. And I work with some designers, and we were looking at some options for furniture. We were just walking in the hallway, and she was giving me some advice from a designer's perspective. And we were hemming and hawing over looking at some pieces, and she said, you know, if that works for a client, Que Sera. And I looked at her and I said, do you say Que Sera a lot? And she's like, I don't even know where that came from. She goes, it just came out of my mouth.
That's so real.
And so she didn't know. Yeah, it was Betty. And she didn't know anything about me and my sister's podcast. And so I just said, Amy, I just have to give you one of these bracelets. And she's like, that's so beautiful. Why are you putting that on me? And I explained to her the whole story about our mom and that she's passed, but our Que Sera bracelets, and she was like so touched, and it was so cute. And actually, even just yesterday, I was with another coworker. We were at a nonprofit golf tournament. I work for a company called Innovative, and they have a nonprofit called In Sports, and it gives back to children to play sports in communities. And so I was sitting there with another coworker, and we were just talking about our podcast, and we were there for 5-6 hours helping with the tournament. And I was telling her about it, and then I just pulled one out of my purse and I started putting it on her wrist, and she was like, that's so beautiful, and your story's so beautiful, and I'm shaking, and it was just so cute. And I was like, yeah, this is just what we do, and she was really inspired by it. She's like, I can't wait to listen to your podcast. I'm like, well, there's already 10 episodes out.
Now 11.
So we actually went to Everly Farms on August 6th, 2020. And we had gotten done with our fantastic dinner, which we'll get to. Well, it was more of our happy hour, but the food and the environment. And so we were walking out. We actually all have new t-shirts now.
Or white t-shirt.
That Dee Dee made for us.
I think we started when we had Carrie Ball with us last time, and so we took one picture with them so far. But we have them all very much decked out in the back with all the things that we do with our podcast. And these two women, they were with, one of them had the husband with, and they were like, ladies, get over here. What are those t-shirts? And we're like, what are you guys doing?
She said, are you in a bowling league?
And so we walk over to her and we tell her, oh, we're doing this podcast. And Maria said, you know, they were just so friendly.
Well, they were like, tell us about it. What's going on?
Yeah, and also me and Dee Dee used to live in Delano, and so we were talking about, we were really close to Delano, Minnesota. And we're talking about all our Delano connections. We have friends in Delano and this and that. Maria had already put the bracelets on them.
Someone had her card.
The husband's like, can I take a picture of the back of your t-shirt? And I'm like, sure. And Maria said, these are called Que Sera bracelets. And she flips her arm over, and she has a tattoo. It says Que Sera, Sera.
It was so weird.
This is just a stranger. We've never met
channeling
before.
our moms.
Linda with a Y.
She says, my name is Linda with a Y. And Jody Cobb.
I wasn't sure if it's Jody with a Y or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then this morning, I get a text from my friend Joan, who's her husband.
There's a connection
There's
there.
a
Yeah, there's a
connection
connection.
with, sister-in-law, because we had given her one of our cards, our forecast cards. So we have little cards that we give out with our QR code. And I get a text from my friend that's got our card. She's like, this came through Ted today. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Just the fact that someone had a que sera tattoo.
We felt like mom was there.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely was channeling our mom.
And we've been talking for months, and we've mentioned it before, that we're all going to get que sera tattoos. Most of our kids have already got them since Grandma has passed. We want to get them. We want to do it together.
We just got to make the appointment.
We just gotta, especially after seeing hers yesterday.
Yeah.
It was
So
beautiful.
inspiring.
It was beautiful. Okay, we're going to commit to these tattoos. So hopefully by fourth quarter, we'll be showing them off on our sites. And
That was just a great
It was
que
cool.
sera moment. It was so cool.
It was.
moments and just within
Yeah.
a week or two. And it was pretty amazing and inspiring to hear those words come out of other people's mouths or have them on someone's arm.
And she said it was her grandpa's favorite song.
Yeah,
or
he would
something
sing
like
it to
that.
her.
Yeah.
He'd sing it to her,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So-
amazing.
Very, very cool.
Okay, well that was awesome. So part 2, our happy hour discovery. Noelle said we were at Everly Farm Winery. Was it in Delano? Was it considered?
It's not.
It's Minnetonka Orchard, apple orchard, which they still have the apples. We pull up. I was floored. It's just a beautiful building.
Gorgeous.
They had outdoor seating, twinkle lights everywhere, natural wood.
Packed with people
It
already
was
at
just-
5:30.
Luckily, we didn't have a reservation. They gave us the best seat in the house, I think.
They gave us one of the loungy spots in the bar. We were too hot to sit outside because Noelle had been at a golf tournament.
I had been at InSports all day and I was exhausted, so it was fantastic.
Now I'm going to do our happy hour discovery. We went, as Dee Dee said, we went to Everly Farms Winery in Minnetonka. She found it, and we want to just make sure that we are finding these cool spots for you guys and rating our experience there. We had a lovely waitress named Olivia.
Last night I posted on our Instagram page, we were there, and it had a picture of us sitting with her on our couch. And she responded already.
She
back.
said,
Yeah,
already
she said
loved serving you guys last night.
And
Yeah.
She was super sweet. And she, of course, there was a connection there with Dee Dee and some people that she knows. She asked about our t-shirts, and we told her about the podcast and stuff. So that was fun. And we did obviously get really, really good service. I don't know if it was our t-shirts or if it was just the service and the experience.
I think they had such a younger serving staff, but a very educated.
They were
so not
very
to
well
say-
polished.
They were.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a young crew,
Yeah.
and excited to be there, and
Yeah, just really,
really good.
service with a smile and all that. I'm going to do the Pour Score rating system. As you know, if we score the happy hour 8 or above, they get the sister stamp. So we go through the Barstool breakdown, scene and sip, sports scene, girls room, and the tap recap. I'm going to start with the Barstool breakdown, which is the interior design and the seating and just the overall atmosphere. Maria, I'm going to kick it off to you and you can score.
Actually, the interior is beautiful. It's really modern, and the perimeter has real comfy seating with couches and soft chairs, and there's a lot of tables. Really nice bar, outdoor seating, and I just thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like they do a lot of catering for big events.
Yeah,
like it
weddings.
looked like they were set up for a wedding this
But
weekend.
they also had those really cool star lights that were hanging down that were really cool
and
too.
chandeliers. It was
Yeah,
so
it was
pretty.
beautiful.
We got the lounge area, so really cool, funky couches and really comfy chairs. And it was just a really comfortable setting to have a little happy hour.
Then we walked around outside after, and on Wednesdays they still do an outdoor barbecue kind of thing. And my daughter Amanda said she'd been there before. And there's a lot of things to do with kids on those special days.
And they have
can run
music
around.
sometimes, but you can buy bottles of wine because I know they do some grapes from Minnesota, but they also ship in grapes from like Napa or Eastern.
Yeah,
So-
to that because we actually ended up getting 2 flights to start, so we could try.
We tried a bunch of wines.
So the scene and sip, that kind of goes hand in hand with what we got. And we got the flights, which were amazing. Marie, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we got 2 separate flights. I think they were a little redundant. There were some that were on both of the flights.
So
But
we got a
had,
bubbly.
yeah, we got a Merlot, and then we got a Rosé, then we got a Chardonnay, and then
They were really good.
they were really good. And then we all ended up really liking the Rosé bubbly. And I think we all got a glass of that
We did.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice. You get a pretty decent pour, 4 flights.
Yeah,
And we got
so-
2 of those.
And then the scene there was a couple making out inappropriately. And
I can see that. They were my back.
they were like in
They
their
were on a
late 50s.
Daters.
They were
way too old to be making out.
I didn't see the whole
Which is
thing.
hysterical.
I was like, oh boy. But anyhow, that's not the late farm.
The seed and sip.
A
Do
little
you
bit
think
of
it's a
everything.
local hangout? Kind of, but we came from a little bit farther away.
And those like people were from
Yeah.
Claudia.
I wouldn't call it really a local hangout because I think people from all over were there.
A
And I'm sure there
destination.
were still some local people.
I think
but
it's a destination too because there aren't that many wineries in Minnesota.
Good
And
ones.
some of them,
Good ones.
yeah, some of them are just a little too sweet. They do too much ice wine, but I think Everly Farms because they ship
Yeah, they get their grapes
from
from
other
Napa.
places. I think people want to check it out.
And a restaurant. A lot of times a winery is not going to have a full menu.
The actual restaurant that we were in is called The Table, and they really do advertise farm to table too. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's a little bit out in the middle of nowhere, so you're in the country. And
Which
so,
is really cool.
Yeah, so there's nothing around it really, so I think also the location for the locals is really good.
Yeah, and the land was beautifully laid out. They have the restaurant spot, they have the outdoor seating with the twinkly lights, and then they also have a venue where Dee Dee had mentioned that they set up for a wedding. And it was a huge tent. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. So we liked it.
Okay, and then the sports scene, I
don't think it's a
it
sports
was.
scene.
No, because
Oh, they did
did.
the bar. Okay,
They
I
did.
didn't notice what
they
you
did.
noticed.
I don't know if they would actually have sound on, but they had big TVs, and if we're just wanting to hang out at the bar, you could definitely, I'm sure,
That's
have
true.
them change the channel. So
It was a really comfy looking bar.
really nice.
Yeah, because it was bar stools, there were high tables, and then there was really loungy couches that we got to sit in, which was nice. And then we each went to the girls' room, and it was
Beautiful.
really beautiful, clean. They were individual stalls, so you could go in and lock the door, and they were very clean, very nice.
They're cute. They're all decorated differently, so all three had different floral wallpaper patterns, and it just carried out that kind of the elegance from the
Very elegant.
restaurant all the way through.
Yeah,
to
you know when the
bathrooms.
bathroom is clean, that the restaurant is clean.
Yeah.
And then the tab recap. What did you guys think? Noel, I'll start with you.
We each spent a little over 40 with tips, so I think for what we got these really yummy pizzas, we had Brussels sprouts, we had wine flights, we had a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was a really good value, even though they don't per se have a specials for happy hour. It was still a very good value.
You could go anytime and get really good value for
Yeah, I
for
think the
getting.
prices were good. They had pastas on the menu. They had pizzas.
I think they had a lot of stuff you could share.
So they also had some meals. Noelle and I looked at some woman's plate that had pasta, and it was a huge portion.
And we
I
were
think
even
it's shareable.
We were even saying, let's bring the guys out next time because there was steak burgers, fries, and all that kind
And
of
I
stuff.
know we talked about they have a sort of a brunch lunch on Sundays, and she said they do mimosa flights. So
We
that
wanna
would be
do
really
that,
fun.
for sure.
She said they bring a bottle of bubbly, and then you get 4 little individual
Mixes.
juices, and then you can decide what type of mimosa you want. It's a good thing.
Okay, let's score it up. I'll start. I think it was, for a couple of reasons, I'm going to give it a 9.5. The service was amazing. Olivia and all of her staff that helped running food and bringing us our drinks. They brought our bottle of wine, and because it was a rosé bubbly, they brought it in ice. And it was just a really good presentation, and they were all so pleasant, and they really cared about our experience. The food was great. The ambiance was awesome. So I give it the sister stamp.
I'm gonna give it, this is Maria. I'm gonna give it a 10. Simply because I've been there before. My husband took me on a date there on a Wednesday night last summer, and this year they do barbecue, but last year they had a big pizza oven, and they made individual pizzas, and you could buy a bottle of wine, and they had music, and I had no idea how beautiful this building was, but I was just really impressed. I was thinking, yeah, they have this restaurant, but I had no idea how nice it was. I'm gonna give it a 10.
Dee Dee?
I'm gonna give it a 9, and it's not so much for the restaurant itself, but it was more the clientele. More people were in shorts and flip flops and things, and I think if anybody went back there again, you would want to feel like you should be dressed up a little bit. I still think you could dress down, but I think it was really elegant, and it could have.
Maybe just because it was summer. Do you think people
Yeah.
would dress
Maybe.
more
Yeah,
Yeah, it
fancy?
might be because it's all in the country too.
Yeah, changed the vibe a little bit, because if I had seen people in dresses and dressed up a little more, it might have changed my thoughts. But although everything else was wonderful.
Noel?
I'm gonna do 9.5, just like Nikki, because I was bummed to hear they don't do the pizza anymore on Wednesdays, but they still do the barbecue.
They might bring it back.
I still think everything was great, and I do think it being close to Waconia, Delano, Minnetonka. It's kind of in
It's a
that
nice
middle.
option.
But you're just going to get all sorts of different types of people that want to come and chill. But I also thought that I was very surprised how busy it
So
must
busy
be
on a
very
Thursday night.
popular.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't
we had-
imagine on the weekend. It's
Right.
probably packed.
Yeah.
We knew why when we walked away. We had a great experience, and the food was really great, and we were just really having a great time there.
To top it off, that quesadilla with
And then
Linda.
our quesadilla moment with
Yeah,
Linda.
that was just
Linda with a Y. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't get any better than having mom pop up and say que sera sera to us. Coming through Linda was
Yeah,
amazing.
that was amazing. I just also just wish they had happy hour pricing.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Maybe
But
that's something they'll evolve into since they're a newer restaurant, but I still think their pricing was really good.
all right, now we wrap it up. They get our sister stamp,
You sure?
and we're gonna move on to our family stories.
All right, so part 3 of our forecast is we usually like to talk about a family, a funny family story that can only come from our crazy first generation American family. So this week we are talking about the cars that have been in our life. And I can start it off.
Well, the cars, trucks, and vans.
Yeah, the cars,
Yeah.
the monster truck, what?
The
see,
Jalopies.
Jalopies, which is what our dad used to call
An old
really,
car.
really, really bad cars.
Broken
And-
down cars, he called them jalopies.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that guy with that
The
jalopy.
jalopy.
Yeah, and monster trucks, which Noelle will talk about, and then we'll all talk about the smoking vans.
Dad always had, even if it was an older car, it was always clean, it was always impeccable. And when he saw somebody with a dirty car or a car that just wasn't running properly, was spitting smoke or anything.
And Dad was really good at just fixing things in general. He was funny because we would go to the cabin, which is like an hour and a half away, and he would check the oil every time we
That's so
left the
funny.
driveway. I know.
And
It's
he,
so funny.
in our Vista Cruiser air conditioner,
You did?
yes,
Yes.
he
That was
retrofitted that after, it was an aftermarket car.
Is it when you went to Colorado?
No, he had
He'd
that
always
from
had
day
it.
one.
That was one thing Dad always, our house
Air
was
conditioning
always
was
freezing,
important.
and then our cars were freezing, and we loved it. So we still need to have it that way.
Mom and Dad were really about the comforts of living in America and the things that they went through, and they said you should always be comfortable. So the car did not come with air conditioning, and he was a tool and die guy, and we figured out how to install one.
And that sucker what got cold.
All right, Nikki, what's your favorite car? Or,
Okay.
or best memory?
Okay, so we're gonna say our first car, our most memorable car, and our favorite car. So my first car was a Honda Civic that I bought from Tom, Maria's husband, and it was great.
Oh, no air conditioning in that thing.
We have the blue one or the
Yes,
silver
the
one?
blue.
Okay.
It was a four-door
Noelle has
Honda
that story.
Civic, and it was manual, so, or as my dad would say, it was a straight stick.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. It had an Alpine stereo in it.
Yeah.
I swear the stereo.
It got
was-
stolen twice.
Oh my god, the
Yeah.
stereo probably was worth more than the car, but that sucker never stalled. And I had it in Mankato where I went to school, and everybody's cars wouldn't start, and it would be like 50 below zero, and the Honda would start right up, and I'd take everybody to school.
As long as you don't need air conditioning, because I got it once in the middle of, well, it was a wedding, and I'm like,
It's
oh,
100
I'll drive
degrees.
with Tom. He has a nice car, and I'm like, in
Oh, it
in
was
my
a Nikki's wedding.
yeah, in my bridesmaid dress, and I'm thinking the roads were buckling that day. It was so hot.
And we were going to Como Park to
so
take pictures.
that car's my nemesis. I got in there and I was.
I loved it.
You're
And
really-
she's like, Tom, you don't have air conditioning?
Okay, and then probably my most memorable car was the first car that I got with my own loan, and Jay's dad helped me find it. So thank you, Jimmy. And you never know in the Italian family where you're getting your deal from, but it was a super good deal. It was a Nissan 200 SX, and it was great, and it was super cute, and I was
None of us
some
remember.
guy opened his jacket and said, "Hey, I got a
Oh,
car."
right.
And none of us remember that car.
I know,
I don't
so
remember that car.
cute, and it was my first car, and I loved it. I probably had it for maybe a month or two, and I was at work at the club, and it was April Fool's Day, and it was raining cats and dogs. I mean, it was just pouring, and because I was an employee, I had to park way out in the employee lot, and I get this call from Troy McClure, which is a Simpson character, and I
Didn't
didn't
catch on.
even catch on. And it was somebody that Jay worked with, and he said, "Yeah, I understand you just bought a new Nissan 200 SX." can you get me the VIN number? I have reason to believe it's a stolen vehicle. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh
This is
yeah.
great.
If you ask Jay, he remembers this.
This is great.
And then, so I'm like, oh my God, yep. And he goes, you can call me back at this number. So he gave me his desk number at Wells Fargo. And I went down in the parking lot, raining like crazy. I got all wet in my tracksuit that I used to have to wear at the club. And I got the VIN number. I didn't know where it
Oh my
was. So I'm
God.
looking all over my car in the rain. I figured it out. I wrote it down.
So funny.
Yeah, it wasn't like you had a cell phone to take a picture.
No,
Right.
no. So I think he even said you need to take a paper and pencil with you to write down your VIN number. And so I get back, I
I
call
wouldn't know where
him.
to look for it.
I call him and he
On the
goes,
dash.
April Fool's Day, this is Jay. I'm like, I will kill you and I will get you back.
Did you ever get him back?
I think I did like a zoo joke, but it fell flat. And then I will say my favorite car was my Jaguar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was baby blue.
Yeah.
I bought a Jaguar. That was my favorite.
This is Maria. So when I turned 16, I'm the oldest of the family. My mom and dad said one day, we're gonna go somewhere, you're gonna come with us. And they take me to the Chevy dealer and they buy me a 1972 Chevrolet Vega.
Was that brand new?
Brand new, kind of that blue, turquoisey blue.
Oh, I remember it. To put some pictures up.
I don't think I have any.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm all excited that I have this new car and it came with a total hitch. My dad was so tired because our mom didn't drive at that point. And he was so tired of carting everybody around that they bought me the car and I had to proceed and take everybody to their lessons and all of that.
It's class at Apache Plaza.
Yeah.
Pick me up at preschool or
Pick you up at
kindergarten or something.
preschool, all that stuff. But the funny thing is they never went in my car and I used to pick up my girlfriends and smoking like a chimney.
Oh, yeah.
The whole ashtray would be full of cigarettes and then we'd stop to get gas and I'd go, okay, everybody has to give me a quarter because I put $1 worth of gas in my car. Anyway, I had it for about 6 years and oh, it was just the worst car. It has got to be rivaled with the Pinto. And it was falling apart. And this woman that I worked with wanted to buy it for her daughter. And the last few months that I was driving it to work, I had no heat. And I would drive to work in a sleeping bag.
Oh my God.
And she still wanted to buy it. I think she bought it for $250.
Probably go a mechanic.
A very memorable one was, so after carting everybody around for a couple of years, I said, that's it, I'm teaching my mom how to drive. When she was about 40, made her go through the whole driving thing, and my dad bought her this Maverick.
Yeah, the MAV.
And I remember, though, taking her to practice driving. I'm surprised that I don't think I ever got in a car with her ever again because she was on the freeway and she was just shaking, and trucks and big semis.
She was the worst. She never
We're going
got,
next
She never
to
got
me.
with it.
And she was sweating down her arms, and I'm like, oh
She
my
could
God.
only drive in 30-mile-an-hour roads. That
Well,
was
she would
just
go,
circle
do I have
walls.
to go on the freeway?
Yeah.
Never go on
No,
the
it
freeway.
was to come to church and to
There's a
Rosedale.
PA. There's a PA. To
Yeah.
work.
But thank God she did because after Dad was gone, she drove everywhere.
And
So.
then the
But no
Maverick.
freeway.
The Maverick was their car. So they
Mav.
have a lot of stories.
We
like
were really
Maverick.
only allowed to take the MAV to
To
work.
work, and it never started in the.
It was a Ford Maverick.
Proceed to give us a lesson almost every time we got into the car.
You have
How
to turn it.
You have to gas first.
And then we'd flood it, and then we'd have to.
I
go
still remember though, we drove it. We went to see the Clash. Emmy and Jenny, our friend Jenny, which we will feature on the podcast one of these days, and her sister Steffi, but we grew up with them. So we were working at this restaurant called Kozlak's all together. We decided Dee Dee's boyfriend was really cool. We're going to go to the Clash. We're going to take the MAV. We forgot for some reason that the driver's side door didn't open at that point. We get in and we get out of the concert after we were slam dancing for about 4 hours, which I'll never do again. We didn't try to slam dance, but then Jenny and I kept trying for 30 minutes to open that side door. Adventures in the
Yeah.
MAV.
All right. Well, my favorite car has to be our Tesla. It's a 2019 and we still have it, and very much of a learning curve how to autopilot that thing, but it's been a great car for us. We've driven it twice to California. We learned very quickly that the battery does not perform very well in cold weather. I remember the very first trip, it said, oh, you don't need to stop until you get to this town in Iowa. And all of a sudden it's flashing and it's yellow and it says, hurry up and charge or you're going to ruin your battery. And it literally was not very old, and we limped in. And after that, we knew when we needed to charge it. And
And I'm sure Tom has charted out all of the charging stations.
Well, it
Charts
has
it
them
out
out
for
for you, so it tells you where you have to stop. But anyway, it's been a great car for us, and we actually are going to trade up and get the next level, which is the Model Y, which is a SUV. We have a sedan. It's a Model 3. We want a bigger car, so we'll probably end up trading it in for a Model Y. But those are my cars.
Okay, this is Dee. So my first car was a Volare. I don't even know what model, but
I think it's
Jay's dad, Jimmy, found it for me. We would just sing Volare. Whoa. But it was rust color. It had rust holes all over it. It had bubble wrap
Like
still
old
on
ladies.
it, but when I took that bubble wrap off, those seats were beautiful. The passenger door didn't open, so everybody had them. And what else was wrong with it? But that thing would start all winter long. I mean, my friends, my roommates would have new cars down at the U, and I would pop into my $300 Volare, and that thing would just turn
You
over.
were driving it to like Tennessee at one point.
But as a flight attendant, I drove it all the way to Detroit first, and then Detroit Chrysler, and then Detroit to Memphis, and then it died in Memphis.
I'll never forget when Dee Dee and all her girlfriends crammed into the Volare and they came down to visit me in Mankato State. And they were crazy. They all like got out of the car, and my friends were like, I can't believe they're still coming out and still coming out. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to put them. I was in a dorm room, but I think we stayed in our friend's room that had the triple, and we drank all their beer.
So our cousin also had a Volare, and we went to a Kicks game one time, which was our team back in the
Our dad loves
70s
Yes,
and 80s.
it was 80s. And
We went to the Met Stadium.
yeah, and so we went, and you always tailgated, and we went in, and she had a Volare, and we got out, and we could not find her car anywhere. And she just said, I think someone stole my car. And I said, who would steal a Volare?
All right, probably my most memorable car was my Toyota Tercel. I lived in Vegas for a short stint when I was a flight attendant and flew out of LA. But who buys a car in Vegas without air conditioning?
Oh my gosh.
Once again, you should have learned from dad.
My boyfriend probably wasn't that mechanical, so he's like, this is a good car. So we drove that back to Minnesota, and then one time I got locked out and it had a sunroof. Remember the sunroof?
Oh,
my
no,
God, they
you
don't
didn't climb
open
through it.
very-
So we broke into the car through the sunroof, and that thing leaked
Oh,
air.
my
That
God.
was the loudest car with no air conditioning.
Did it leak like when it rained too?
Yeah. And then when we first got married, not to that boyfriend, but to someone else,
God.
we lived on a lake, and there was a really bad storm, and actually a big tree landed on that car, and it was just
I don't remember
smashed
that.
down
No,
the
I
road.
remember the Tercel. Yeah, Jay and I forgot. We were brought to our wedding by a limo, and we forgot to get a ride to our hotel from our wedding reception.
On our Tercel.
I got in the back seat in my wedding dress in your Tercel.
Classy.
I know.
Well, this was in October, so it wasn't that hot.
No,
So,
good
so,
times
yeah.
in the Tercel.
Yeah, Vegas car with no air conditioning. So probably my favorite car was my Hummer.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Loved
so
it.
cool.
Your orange Hummer.
My orange Hummer and the license plate was humdinger. But it was like one of the first ones that rolled off the lot. But the reason why it's my favorite car is because I had two babies at the time. I had Macy and Ben. Macy must have been like 6 months, so Bennett was a little over 2. It was the safest car on the road. And I always just felt like driving around with the kiddos, it just felt so safe. And it was a cool looking car, but
It was
I
fun.
think the safety of it all just really made me like it.
It was fun.
pretty bad.
We love driving. in
Except
the Hummer.
for-
When we visited
Except, yeah, we were in a parking a lot in Phoenix. Oh, we're looking out the window and there's a red cardinal right now.
Oh, that's
Beautiful. I know.
Yeah.
It always reminds me of our friend Jenny and Debbie's mom.
Okay.
And our mom. So it just makes me think about those two ladies whenever I see a cardinal. So, yeah, I was in Phoenix visiting Dee Dee with my kids, and it was so big I couldn't see out of the rear view.
Okay.
And I hit a car behind me, like just tapped it. I had all the kids in the car. Dee Dee had to run in to get something. That thing was so huge, I couldn't see the car in back of me. It was so high off the ground. I hit a very low car, just hit the bumper. And
Cracked. Happy
Very low car.
cracked their bumper, but I left them a note, and we took care of it with insurance. But yeah. Not that I'm like, this car is way too big.
There was a learning curve to drive that thing.
Yes.
All right, Noah.
So mine. Okay, I have.
Your first
I
car.
have. Oh my gosh, I have so many car stories. My first car I bought from one of my sister's friends, and it was a Toyota. I think it was a Toyota Corolla of some sort. It was like a mustard color, it had rust all over it. And then I discovered shortly after I got it, I was dating my now husband Kip, but it was rusting so bad that it didn't even have a floor on the
You
right
could see
side.
that.
Brown.
She was like the Flintstones.
And then also Kip's like, the frame is going to rust right off. Something's going to crack off of it. Okay, so fast forward just only a few months after that, or actually before that, I already had my Toyota when I met him, but he pulls. Our first date was a motorcycle, and I didn't realize he drove a motorcycle, and I had a mini skirt on. So we had a really great first date, even though he drove a motorcycle, and I had to get on his motorcycle in my mini skirt. It was a whole thing, but I did like him, and so he asked me out, and I only dated suburban guys, and even though he was technically from the suburbs, he drove motorcycles, he had a monster truck, he hunted and fished, and did all sorts of things. Trapped. He just did things I didn't know.
He was a manly man.
He was a very manly man,
But he modeled.
and he was a model. He was. He hates when I talk about him. He was a model.
At first half.
He did a runway show at First Ave for Dayton's Oval Room, and it was. I am to this day. I'm so mad. No one took pictures.
Well, we didn't have cell phones then.
He wore a fur coat with no shirt. All the guys were all models with no shirts on and jeans and fur coats. It was so awesome. He did a model walk. It was hysterical, but I digress. He calls, our house. Of course, our mother, Betty, always picked up the phone. She never let us pick up the phone.
Except for when Rob's friends would call.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing. She would talk to all of them to get to, whoever had to get to us had to go through my mom first. Anyway, he picks me up for our first date, and he pulls up, and I will post a picture of this monster truck. Apparently,
I was like, who the hell
him and
is that?
him and his buddies all had mudder trucks, and they would go places in the country where they would drive around their trucks in the mud, and apparently it was cool.
I think the wheels were taller than you.
Oh yeah, and I would get into it, and it bounced. I got a stomach ache. It bounced so much. I was like, "What is going on?"
When Marcy was from across the street, Jenny's mom
Yeah.
was watching you get into that truck. She's like, oh my god, that poor thing.
And once again, I probably had my jean miniskirt on again. Who is this guy? I'm married to him, almost 39 years now, but it was hysterical. So we are driving down 694, Highway 694, 3-lane freeway. He's going to drop me off. I don't know where we were on some date. And all of a sudden we hear this big clunk clunk. And the back wheel, I go, there goes your tire. Literally the tire fell off of the truck, the mudder truck.
It's a huge tire rolling down the
He
highway.
pulls to the side and somehow retrieves the tire, gets it up the ramp, and he goes, well, we'll just I think we ended up walking to our house. I can't remember, but the next day he spent half the day putting the tire back on and fixing it. And I'm like, oh my god. I think it was a Chevy, but to this day we still have pictures of it. It's all over. It was white, and he was so proud of that truck. And then I did have a really great Honda Accord. That was my first car that I financed. Dad co-signed. It was an excellent first car.
And it had air conditioning.
But what I will say is one of my favorite cars, and I still want to get a Volvo again, was my Volvo station wagon when my kids were all little.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, the funniest story about it had great safety ratings, and it was a great car. I never had any problems with it. It had the backwards seat,
Yep.
the front seat. The girls loved riding in that seat backwards. But I went, after I had my son Max, we were going to go show off the baby to the girls at daycare, and I had my yellow lab with me. And we pull up to OK Kids in Orono, which was the daycare, and we come out, and thank God I had the baby with me. Our dog steps on the lock, and I had the keys in the car, and locks us out. So Amber's our yellow lab. So then I had to call Kip, and he had to come with the extra set of keys from whatever job site he was on, and opened the Volvo. So I was like, never left the keys in the ignition after that. And then one other really funny story. My friends had the funniest cars, but my friend Bella had a Pacer. And
It's like a fishbowl.
it looks
on
like a
wheels.
fish, and it had a sunroof, and we used to hang out of the sunroof and pretend like we were swimming, and we had so much fun in that friggin' Pacer. But it also, we put the dollar of gas in it, but it would kill a lot. So Bella would make me jump out. She'd get close enough to my curb and my grass at my house, and she'd just say, "Just tuck and roll."
Oh my gosh.
And I'd have to jump out so that she didn't.
And you were probably wearing a miniskirt.
Well, she didn't have the skirts.
But we had so much fun. in
And
college.
Marcy probably saw her jump out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Our neighbor Mercy was always watching.
She's
But
like
She was
Mrs.
always,
Kravitz.
well, she always read her book in that picture window.
Yeah, sure. Read her book.
a fun Mrs. Kravitz who always had a cigarette
And a
going
gimlet.
And a gimlet.
Oh
She was
my
the
gosh.
best. So anyway, that was just a funny aside. And then my friend Deb also her mom had a Pinto, and we took it out when we were 15. We did not have our driver's licenses, and it killed, and we went and knocked on someone's door, and the guy helped us get the Pinto going.
You could never do that
No
nowadays.
way.
We got the Pinto home, and Jebby and I sat in front of the Holy Mother of Jesus and did our prayers for like 50.
Okay, one last question. What car did you take your driver's license in?
The Vista Cruiser.
Mine was the LeBaron.
The LeBaron.
The diesel.
Yeah.
My dad had a car,
Cutlass.
the Cutlass, and
Cutlass,
it had a diesel engine in it. And so every time we left the driveway, before we even got in, remember the diesel.
It's the diesel.
Don't
It's
put
the diesel.
It's
yeah,
a diesel.
put only diesel gas in it.
I mean, he was terrified if you're going to put regular gas in it, but I don't
You
think
can't
anybody
even
ever
fit
did.
it in there.
Yeah,
You know.
you can't fit the diesel in.
That was, our dad had so many funny
He
terms.
was so quirky.
But the jalopy, the diesel, just
The monster truck. Oh, we forgot to talk about the passion pit.
Oh my God, we have to talk
Okay,
about
one,
the smoking
one
van.
last thing. We all have the smoking vans. Our brother had a van that we call passion pit.
It was a silver van and it was completely stripped down, had nothing in it.
But he fixed it up.
Oh, yeah.
but no
It was
windows
dark.
in the back at all.
No, but it had carpet from the ceiling. Like every
Head to
single
And
piece of it.
crushed blue velvet
Yes.
seats.
And then he had that little vent, and one time I took it and I got in a ramp that was too low, and I cracked his vent. He was not happy with me.
I took it out once with the cheerleaders, and we got in school suspension because we took it down to Dairy Queen or something. We just thought we'd just skip school for a few hours.
So every once in a while, Rob would go, okay, let's all get into the van and go to Dairy Queen. And Dairy Queen was down several hills, probably 2 miles.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
not even
Yeah,
about a
no.
mile and a half. But
No,
we were on the
to
very
the village? No,
Yeah.
like a mile.
So the goal was not to start the car and just
how far we could coast.
all the way down to the
Dairy.
Dairy Queen.
And we'd make it all the way down to 29th
Yeah.
because there was a stop sign right there.
And then he'd have to turn the car on.
Where
So-
my friend Deb was bleaching the Dairy Queen from head to toe.
So did he have it in the 80s or the 70s?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He'd pull up into the driveway and he'd get out, and there was so much hot smoke that would be drifting outside that van. It was a smoking van.
Yeah, well, and then he would park it in the school parking lot, and they'd all go out instead of going to the Brown House in St. Anthony, where all the smokers went, and they would get out of it, and then he'd open the door, and smoke would just
they
be
would
like
be
billowing
smoking
out.
cigarettes.
The
Yeah.
cigarettes, pot,
It
whatever.
was fast times at Ridgemont.
But I
Yeah.
also remember going to the cabin and he'd take us, my brother would take us to the drive-in movie theater.
Field.
And so he'd make us all
The passion
hide in the
pit.
back, so he'd pay for one adult
I would be in the front
and
seat.
one child.
And that
That
was
was so
free. So he'd pull up, he was like 18 years old.
We're all
pull up
like
with a
under the
child.
seats, in the cushions, everywhere. They'd open the back to see if anybody's in there. We're all laying on top of each other hidden. And we never got caught.
But
We
then
always
as soon
got
as park, 30 people would roll out of the van.
roll out of the van.
Anyway,
The man
yeah.
was classic.
We couldn't forget about the passion.
That van was
Smoking van.
classic. Rob customized that whole thing.
I don't
I think
remember
he
him.
may have even sewed the blue
Drapes,
velvet
yeah,
cushions.
those
Oh, yeah,
curtains,
yeah.
too.
velvet.
Oh, yeah.
And then
For
the
the
chairs
back
in the
window.
back, they were red or blue velvet because the carpet was head to toe blue crushed shag. But do you remember the chairs in the back? They were
Attached?
affixed or they
Yeah.
were on beanbags.
Oh,
do you remember
I
that?
don't remember they were on beanbags. I remember
I don't
I didn't like
remember
sitting
that.
in them.
That's because they were on beanbags and you took over all the
How
time.
dangerous.
God, and he worked the late shift, so he'd
from
From
at
work, yeah,
McQuaid.
right.
Yeah. He had the first cool band.
He had a lot of firsts.
He was a cool brother.
Yeah, and he would teach us how to drive in it. I'd stand next to him and steer from our cabin all the way to town. I was like 10
Real
and I would
safe.
steer,
He-
standing
he-
next to him.
Took me to get my driver's license, and
in his van.
no,
Oh.
we were in the LeBarons, but he took me, and then I got out. He's like, "Well, let's practice before we go." So we did. We practiced a little bit, and then he's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yep." So we get there, and I pass. He goes, "You shouldn't have passed." He's like, "I'm driving home." Okay.
So much fun.
Well, thanks for tuning in, and we appreciate everybody who has subscribed. But make sure that if you want to just make somebody's day, we're all just silly here, and we talk about funny things and our Que Sera bracelets, our funny family stories, just to lighten somebody's day. Share our podcast with them, and hopefully you'll continue to listen, and we'll get new subscribers as well.
Yeah, just go on our website, caserodbracelets.com. They're only $5. They can get shipped to you.
Look for us on First Gen Sisters Podcast on Instagram, Facebook. Oh, we are TikToking now.
And you too.
Yes.
For all you Gen Zers.
Anywhere you can find a podcast, that's where you're signing off from somewhere in the West Metro. This is Nikki,
Maria.
Dee Dee.
Noelle.
the First Gen Sisters Podcast, where the wine flows and the tea spills.
Cheers.